Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to share with you a bit of a handmade wardrobe declutter. So I've been sewing and knitting the majority of my clothing for the past few years, and inevitably during the process of doing that, there have been a few garments that I have made that haven't worked out in my closet. And so I thought it would be interesting to share those items with you, and also the reasons why I think they didn't work. And hopefully, if you're just beginning to make clothing for yourself, these will be sort of tips or things to avoid when choosing fabrics and patterns and etc. Things to consider when making clothing for yourself. Now, at the beginning of my sewing journey, I simply didn't have the knowledge about how to construct and finish garments in a way that would produce a long-lasting quality piece of clothing. At the very beginning, I started with Big Four paper patterns from a local craft store, and the instructions that come with Big Four patterns aren't always really detailed, and oftentimes I find they will tell you to do something but not tell you how to do it. It wouldn't tell you necessarily how to finish seams or even that you needed to. And so the first couple of garments that I made, I didn't finish the edges of the seams. I didn't know that I needed to, and I didn't know what a serger was. Complete beginner. I had no understanding that you needed to finish the edges of your seams so that the fabric wouldn't unravel with wash and wear. So I don't have the garments that basically deteriorated anymore. While it is, dramatic and exciting to see a huge pile of clothing that someone is decluttering from their closet, I typically do it piece by piece as I notice that things aren't getting worn, or the quality just isn't holding up, or the fit isn't good. So I have a basket in my room, and if I am considering taking something out of my wardrobe, I'll put it in that basket, and once it's been in the basket for a while or the basket fills up, I kind of take another look at everything in there, and then I usually will either donate or pass along or repurpose the fabric in some cases as well. So I do have a few items to show you today, and I think they provide good examples of specific reasons why these garments didn't work in my wardrobe, but I don't have everything. And so I will try to show you some photos of the garments that I don't have with me. There are sort of three main categories of reasons why these specific handmade garments didn't work in my wardrobe. Wrong color, wrong fabric / construction at the beginning, and also just trendy items that I made because I saw a lot of other people were making them, and they may not necessarily suit my style at all, and I just made them because they were popular, and trends don't last. So the first category is just wrong color. Now, I know that color analysis and seasonal color analysis are really popular right now, and there's a lot of conversation being had about which colors suit your coloring. But when I started sewing a few years ago, that wasn't really on my radar at all. It's interesting because through sewing, I've learned so much about which colors suit me through fitting, through choosing fabrics and making different projects. I've just paid a lot more attention to that. And I think that cool tones suit me much better than warm tones. And so a lot of the items that I'm letting go of are in the warmer toned area. So I want to show you a few examples. First up, I found this bright yellow fabric in the clearance section of probably a Hobby Lobby or Joann's, and it was incredibly soft and it was very inexpensive, and I picked it up and I thought, I'm going to make a t-shirt and a turtleneck, and it just felt so smooth and buttery. And again, it's a very bright yellow. So I made the Stellan tee, which is a free t-shirt pattern. I can link the pattern below. I really like the pattern. However, I do not love this yellow color on me. And I think in the store I was really attracted to it, and it felt, as I said, really soft, and I thought that's going to be perfect. But the fabric is 100% polyester, and so it doesn't breathe at all. When you wear it, you get, quite hot, and it doesn't give very much either. So it ended up being a little bit snug, and also the feeling of the polyester just wasn't very good. After I had washed the garment a few times as well, it totally lost the buttery softness that the fabric had initially, and it's almost scratchy. So both because of the color and the fabric choice, this is an item that I will be letting go of. In addition to that, from the same fabric, I made the, is it the Monroe turtleneck by Tessuti, I believe? Another free pattern, and it's a turtleneck pattern. And I don't think the color suits me. Every time I put it on, it didn't feel, I don't know, it kind of like yellowed, made me look a little bit sickly, I think. It's just not a good color, especially like right next to my face. It really didn't do me any favors. And also, I found the cut of this pattern a little bit strange. It has a really boxy body. Hopefully you can see that. It's really wide. But the sleeves are so tight. And when wearing it, it felt incredibly tight on the arms. And I don't have overly large or muscular arms. And then the body is huge. So it just, I don't know, the silhouette didn't work out. The fabric didn't work out. The color didn't work out. So we're letting go of that one as well. Okay, another example of wrong color and also fabric. Another clearance find. I think it must have been autumn, but these really warm, like fall tones. Anyway, so this is a cotton, and I believe it's from Hobby Lobby. And I think it was called like homespun cotton. It's really hard to describe the texture, but it is textured and it's very thin. And I made the Pomona pant shorts just as like a lounge short option. And again, I don't love the color. I also made the free at the time, but now I think unavailable Wixton shift dress. And I can insert some pictures of these garments too. But yeah, something about the fabric is just, the texture isn't a comfortable one. Let's put it that way. It feels a little bit rough. It's really thin. And again, this fabric, I just think that the warmer toned orangey browns, they don't work super well for me and my coloring. And I just never wore it. And whenever I put it on, I thought, maybe not today, pick something else. So I also made a tank top that matched these shorts. But again, like I said, I don't have everything in front of me because I've kind of let go of things along the way. Over the past several months, I've been really going through my wardrobe and trying to make really conscious, good decisions about what to keep and what to let go of. And I think both because of the fabric and the coloring, these are going to be items that I let go of. Also with these shorts, the waistband is a little bit too tight. And I think I actually went back in and like added an inch of elastic, and they feel incredibly snug. I think the elastic as well is like a quite firm, not a soft, stretchy waistband elastic. I think I used the wrong kind or something, but very tight. So I'm letting go of those. Another item that I chose to let go of because of the color is this yellow linen blend tank top. This was made from the fabricstore.com free linen tank pattern. And I cut the size 4-6 based off of my body measurements. And I actually found that it was a little bit snug across the back and the chest, and the armholes felt super tight. So in addition to the color being wrong for me and my complexion, the fit of that one was a no as well. So another clearance fabric. I feel so bad. Sometimes I find wonderful fabrics on clearance, but for whatever reason, it must have been fall. All of these autumn tones, the warm orangey browns, and yellow tones, just, they don't work for me. So another one that I found on clearance was this Tencel lyocell fabric, and it's really silky and soft, and I really like the feel of it. And I actually made a pair of pants out of it that I really enjoy, but I think having it close to my face, it really washes me out, this kind of neutral, I don't know, very similar to my flesh tone, and I just don't end up wearing it. I also made matching shorts thinking this would be like a silky, comfortable lounge set. And these are the Pomona pant shorts again. But kind of like the orange pair that I just shared with you of shorts, I made the elastic waistband way too tight. And this was kind of in a phase of my sewing journey where I realized that the suggested elastic length, or going off of your waistband measurement to cut your elastic, just doesn't sit comfortably on me. I feel like it's really digging in. And since these, I have added like a few more inches to each of my elastic waistbands that I've done since. I think it's much more comfortable. And if it's not comfortable, I'm not going to wear it. So these are also a pair that I am letting go of with the additional top that I no longer wear. Another item that I'm going to be letting go of because of the color mainly, but also a little bit because of the sewing techniques and skills that I lacked at the time that keep me from wearing it, is this corduroy heather blazer. This is a pattern by the Friday Pattern Company, and it was my first fully lined jacket or blazer, and I really learned a lot doing it. I had never done a completely lined garment before it, and I think that while the end result is definitely wearable, again, that orangey brown color just really doesn't do anything for me. And also because I chose to make this out of corduroy, I had a really hard time setting in the sleeves. And you can see here, there's quite a poof happening where the sleeve is set into the body of the jacket. And when it's on, it just feels, I don't know, it feels a little bit silly to me. The puff shoulder sleeve was not what I was going for. And I think that if I made this now with the same fabric, I could do a better job of setting the sleeve head into the body of the jacket and have less of that bulk. But I'm not sure that it's something that I'd be willing to go back in to the insides of the jacket and take it out and redo it. Also because of the color, it's something that I never reach for. I don't want to wear it. When I try it on with other things, I almost always take it off and think, oh, I'll wear a different blazer or a different jacket. So that's another one that I will be letting go of. The majority of these items so far I have let go of because of the color. And I also want to talk about items that I have let go of because they were trendy patterns in kind of the indie sewing world, mostly on Instagram and YouTube. And they were patterns that I saw everybody else making, and they look so beautiful on those people. And I thought, oh, I'm going to try that pattern too. So the first one that I want to mention are the Style Arc Bob pants. I actually don't have these with me anymore, but I will insert a photo for you. The fabric that I used was I think it's like another lyocell Tencel blend fabric from Joanne in this blue and white check. And I don't know, I really do enjoy a barrel leg. I enjoy that silhouette, but I think The pattern I had a few problems with for me and the way that it fit my body. I think they're a little bit too short. I remember the pocket placement being really, really low, and I had tried to raise it a little bit, but I could only do so much. And also the pockets aren't secured in any way, so they're just inset into the side seam, and they had a tendency to like flop forwards or backwards in the wrong direction, and it was really annoying. Also, I think the inseam was a little bit too short for me, like not the inseam of the leg, what am I trying to say? I also think the rise was a little bit short for me, and after I washed and wore these pants a few times, they just felt too small. They felt too tight in the wrong places, the floppy pockets, I don't know. The pattern just really didn't work for me. And it was really popular for a while, and everybody was making the barrel-shaped elastic waist pants, and so I did as well. But they didn't get wear, and so I let go of those as well. Another pattern that I made completely out of social influence, I suppose, was the very popular McCall's M7969 dress. So many people made so many different versions of this. And at one point, I think it was Minerva.com, that if you gave them your email address, that was the free pattern that you got for signing up to their newsletter. And so I did get the pattern for free and printed it home. And I chose to make it in this brown linen from fabricstore.com. I really love the quality of the linen, and the color does lean a little bit into the warmer browns that you'll see. I've decluttered many of those from my wardrobe. I think both that color and this style of dress were very popular when I made it. And I never ever wore it. I don't think I wore it once, like after taking pictures of it and being excited about it. And I think there are a few reasons. One, it's a little bit short on me. I'll try to show you the full length. I'm 5'7", and I didn't do anything to the length of the dress, and it's a little bit short. Also, the front, I found when wearing it kind of like can flop open. And I have seen some people sew this part down so that doesn't happen. But I wasn't really motivated to do that. I also had a hard time when I was attaching the gathered skirt to the front of the dress. I don't know if you can see it, but it kind of like arcs up towards the center of the front bodice. And I actually sewed it and serged it. I had a serger at this point, and that arch bothered me so much that I unpicked all of the serged edge and the initial seam, and I did it again, and it happened again. And the pieces on the table laid straight. I really don't know. I had such a hard time with that. And I don't know if it's intentional, if that's part of the pattern, but so many things about this. I think the warm tone brown, the like puffy sleeve that was so trendy, I think it still kind of is, just really doesn't align with my style. It's a little bit more feminine, and not that I don't like feminine pieces, but a large puff sleeve maybe isn't one of them for me. So this is another item that I am going to let go of. And I should mention as well that I'm not necessarily going to just donate all of these items. I do have a daughter, and I don't know if she would want to wear any of these things, but some of the ones that are of a nicer quality, I think I'm going to hold on to see if she wants to try when she can fit into them. And if not, that's totally fine too. But yeah, you do get a little bit attached when you pick out fabric that you like and take all the time to make a garment, and then it doesn't work out and doesn't get worn. So I think with a few of the nicer pieces, I will save them and see if my daughter wants to wear them in the future. Another project that I'm letting go of that was kind of like trend-based. I think in the home sewing community, you're always going to see a lot of tiered, gathered skirts and dresses. It's a very good beginner project, and you know, they're floaty and fun and pretty, and I don't have anything against them, and I do still have some of that type of garment in my wardrobe in more like neutral tones. I think they work better for me. But I made this peppermint Barden dress, And again, it's like a Tencel lyocell fabric, which it didn't age very well after a few wears and washes. It feels kind of rough. But it's the free peppermint Barden dress, and it's just a tank dress that's got these tiered, gathered rectangular pieces for the skirt. And honestly, I didn't wear it much aside from like as a house dress, which is fine, but I really want to keep pieces in my wardrobe that I feel confident in, that I am happy to leave the house in, and that I feel reflect my personal style and taste. And in part, I think, going back to the color issue, I think this is a really warm tone green. I think it has a lot of yellow in it. And personally, for my coloring, I think I look much better in a cooler tone green. This is kind of like a mossy green. And so I've taken note of that for myself, that the pattern of the fabric, the color of the fabric, the oversized tiered dress trend, I don't know if it's for me, and this is one that I'm going to be letting go of. I've touched on it a little bit with some of these pieces, but the third sort of category, and one of the main reasons for decluttering garments out of my closet has been because of the wrong fabric. Sometimes it's the wrong fabric for the project. Sometimes it's the wrong fabric for like the fit in a technical way, but also I think just synthetic fibers in general, I have a hard time wearing on my upper body. If it's like a pair of pants or dressy trousers or something that has a looser fit and there's more fabric and it's not tight to the skin, I really don't mind it in a pair of pants if there's like a polyester blend for trousers, for example. That doesn't bother me at all. But I think, as I mentioned with the yellow turtleneck and t-shirt, and that was a poly stretch fabric, I have a really hard time with polyester when it's on my upper body. I just feel overheated and itchy and scratchy, and it just doesn't work well for me as like a shirt fabric next to skin. So I've decluttered, honestly, anything that I made out of polyester, and I'm going to be very conscious of that going forward. I don't mind it in pants, and I don't mind it when it's like the lining of a jacket. If it's that silky lining fabric, it doesn't bother me at all. I think in general, if the garment has a looser fit, the synthetic fibers don't bother me as much. If it has a next to skin, like close fit to the body, polyester isn't something that I enjoy wearing, and that's good. Going forward, I won't purchase those fabrics for those projects. But also, I think a lot of these garments that I'm decluttering were made from clearance fabrics that are just of a really low quality. I did my fair share of making things from quilting cotton before I understood different, qualities of cotton and what you would make a shirt out of versus what you would use for a quilt square are very different. And I also think that that's true when trying to source fabrics, that it's important to pay attention to the quality. When I find something for $2 or $3 a yard, such as, this fabric, which I think would be much more suited for a baby blanket, but I've definitely seen people make garments out of this sort of, what is that called? Anyway, wearing it on the body feels a bit frumpy. It, in my opinion, on myself, I didn't like how it looked. It felt a little bit sloppy, and again, was just purchased because of the low cost. And so even if you are thrifting fabrics, if you're a complete beginner, maybe consider not making things out of sheets or, really lightweight, inexpensive fabrics, because in the end, the garment just isn't going to last. And spending a little bit more or waiting to find a little bit better quality of a fabric, I think, is really important, because if it doesn't feel luxurious or comfortable, and if it doesn't look good, then you're not going to wear it. And so going forward, I suppose the takeaway from a lot of this for me is that fabric is really important, and the quality of the fabric obviously dictates the quality of the finished garment. And that's something that I'm going to be much more intentional about. Also, through this process, I've learned that I really don't enjoy wearing warmer toned colors. It's interesting. It almost looks as if I went through my closet and pulled out anything orange or, that burnt orange brown color. But I did this over the course of like several months. I would just take something out that wasn't getting worn and set it aside. And now that I've kind of put it all together, it's very clear to me you're not wearing warm orangey browns. So that's good. That's a lesson learned. And it's not about the fact that it's orange. I used to think that I didn't look good in red, for example. And that's true if it's a really warm red. But I have a son and he's 4 years old and his favorite color is red. And he has my same hair and eye color and he looks great in red. And I think we both look good in a cooler toned red. And so it's been really fun sewing my own clothing and knitting my own clothing because I've begun to pay much closer attention to color tone and the way that really impacts how something looks on me and how I feel wearing it. And the things that I don't wear are often the wrong color, the wrong fabric, the wrong fit. So yeah, I hope that was interesting. I love watching videos where people go through and declutter their closets. I love organizational videos. And while this isn't that, I have taken the time over the last several months to be really intentional about removing things from my wardrobe that don't work. And now that I can see them all together and see what remains in my closet, what remains are neutrals, cool tone colors, and natural fibers. And I think going forward, keeping that in mind with future fabric and yarn purchases is going to be really helpful. And I hope that if you are a beginner sewist or knitter and you're starting to buy fabric and yarn and patterns to make items for your wardrobe, that, hopefully this will give you some things to consider. Is it something you're making because you love it and you love how that color looks on you and it's a silhouette that you have worn before and you will enjoy wearing again? Or is it something you're making because you saw a lot of people on social media making the M7969 dress? And not that it's bad to follow trends or to experiment with different styles, but I have found time and time again that if you give me a, classic button-down shirt and a pair of jeans, and then a ruffled, like balloon sleeve dress, I know which one I'm going to wear every day. And it's fun to make things that are statement pieces, and it's fun to experiment with trends. And I will probably still do that going forward. It's part of the creative process. But going through this and editing my wardrobe and looking at the reasons why some pieces didn't work out for me, I think is a really good exercise, and doing it slowly over time as well. And not looking just to clear everything out, but really paying attention to what you're wearing every day and what you're not wearing, and letting that information inform future choices. So hopefully that was interesting. If you've made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching and spending a little bit of time with me today. I hope that you've enjoyed today's video. If you did, please let me know in the comments below and be sure to hit that like and subscribe button as well. I will see you in the next one.